Hey everyone, this is Keith Scott from out in Sydney, Australia. I'm one of the voices of Bullwinkle J. Moose. It's time to watch Relentless and Unstoppable. And so give it up for your main hosts, Douglas Kenny and Andy McPhee.
So does that mean that Brian Cox acted and no one was with him, but he was still looking at the camera as if he were?
That's exactly what he did. He played all of his scenes to uh, tape marks on a black board, just X's, and he played all of his scenes to that. It was a strange situation, and I was so apologetic to him, and he goes, "Oh, I don't care." He goes, "I've played the worst," So he was, he's a real pro, and he's such a great actor, and I just am happy I got to work with him, even for that day.
Yeah, I did notice that he looked very similar to what Angus would look like when he's old. So you definitely got the right actor in that sense.
Yeah, that too. Yeah, and that too.
Yeah,
And
what
Brian
was
is from
Alex?
Scotland. He's the real thing.
Yeah, definitely a Scottish in the heart from what I've seen.
Yeah,
Scottish person, yep, I know what they're like from having been there.
yeah.
So, what was Alex like to work with for a guy that was getting into acting business?
Well, like I say, he had been in a movie before that, in Millions, that Danny Boyle directed. And in fact, uh, before I met Alex, I called because I wasn't sure why I was having such trouble convincing everyone that it was Alex, and so I was able to get in contact with Danny, and I called him up and said, what was it like working with Alex? Did you have any troubles? Was he able to handle all the pressures and being? He goes, you cast this kid right now. He said you're gonna make him a star. He said just cast him, you'll love him. And so Danny was the one that really sold me on him, and he was right. He was right about everything. Alex was fun to have on the set. He had everybody laughing all the time, and he and I would play practical jokes on each other all the time, and that got pretty extreme after a while. We were told to back off it because we were doing some pretty crazy stuff at each other. But all the actors loved him. I mean, he and Ben Chaplin became very close, and as they did in the movie. So it was good for the film, that they became close while we were shooting. And so, yeah, he was a great kid, and he, I put him through a lot of stuff. He spent many hours in very cold water in that pool, and oh, by the way, and he didn't know how to swim when we started. So he was like the character. He was afraid of the water. He didn't know how to swim. So not only did we have to teach him to swim, we had to teach him to be able to scuba underwater, because some of the stuff where he's on the back of the creature going underwater, the only way to get it to really look like he was underwater was to put him underwater. So we would roll the camera, he would have the scuba thing in his mouth, and when we'd say action, he would take it out so that it would look like he was underwater. And then when he started running out of air, then they'd stick it back in his mouth. So he was very, very game to do anything, really.
That's great. Have you heard from him lately, or has he sort of done his own stuff now?
No, I do hear from him now and then, and I stay in touch with his mom and his grandfather as well. They're all in Manchester now. Alex did a few more things after Water Horse. He did a big BBC Charles Dickens written miniseries, and a few other movies, and then he decided as he got older he wanted to go in a different direction, and he went to college. He is now married and has his own son. And so, yeah, he's a great guy. I mean, just solid citizen, top to bottom.
Gee, that's all we have for Relentless and Unstoppable. So tune into the next episode to hear more amazing stories from amazing guests. This is Keith Scott from Sydney, Australia, saying so long, and I'm smarter than the average bear. Cheers!